Good evening. Welcome to the Haywood County Board of Commissioners meeting for November 16th, 2015. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation. If you'd please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, give us as commissioners the wisdom and knowledge to make the best decisions for our county's future. Help us as we address issues needed to improve life for our citizens. Be with the people of France as they deal with their grief and with our world leaders as they struggle to stop these atrocities. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, we'll begin with the public comment session. First up, we have Barry Bailey. Of Weaverville, North Carolina. We appreciate you coming over and helping us out.
That's correct. I'm glad to be here. My mother actually lives in Haywood County. She's 89 and doesn't get around all that well. The process that we've all been through with this RRS proposal was unique. The public and the Board of County Commissioners had a measure of control because the property was owned by the county and the initial tax incentives offered required public notice. If we all sheathe our swords for a minute and step back for some perspective, we realize that any entrepreneur can buy a piece of privately owned property and establish a business that's a poor fit for the surrounding property and supporting infrastructure. And there are few tools in place to keep that from happening. There are few tools in place to keep your neighbor from selling their property for a use that will be a nuisance, a health hazard, or lower your property values. The few ordinances in place do not rise to the level of a plan. We're asking for a moratorium on incineration and like processes as allowed by general statute, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. I haven't lived in this county for many years, but I suspect that any suggestion of county zoning will empty every hill and holler in this county and deposit them on the courthouse lawn, wrapped in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Bible, and anything else they can find to decry the violation of their individual property rights and the evils of zoning. And to a degree, they are right. If everyone acted responsibly and treated their neighbors as they would like to be treated, we wouldn't need zoning. But that's not the case. Buncombe County has zoning and a master development plan. Maybe in some small way that contributes to the difference in property values and business development between Haywood and Buncombe counties. I think it's a question worth considering. Thank you.
Pam Bailey.
Good evening.
Evening.
Given the new information that came out during the public hearings, I think we're probably all relieved that Mr. Allison withdrew his offer to purchase the Beaver Dam property. Mr. Allison may no longer be a threat to that particular piece of property, but he or others will come along again with similar proposals. I know you never intended to allow incineration on that piece of property, but some type of waste-to-energy facility was the only way that Mr. Allison's business plan made any sense, economically speaking. Maybe he was going to purchase a private property for that venture. No matter what, he won't be the last. And I see you're shaking your heads, but just finish listening to what I have to say. There'll be others who are interested in purchasing land in Haywood for undesirable or harmful types of industry. And we can prevent some of that if we work together. As citizens of Haywood County, not just Beaver Dam, we want our county to be protected from harm and developed into a place where we can all live, work, and play without fear of what might happen next. So today, we ask our Board of Commissioners for a moratorium on any business that's interested in incineration, biomass, pyrolysis, gasification, or any similar technology. And we aren't asking for that simply to drag it out. We propose this as a time to research, to learn, and to work together to put some sort of ordinance in place to protect the county as a whole from businesses that may cause more harm than good. I'd like to see the commissioners appoint a committee inclusive of one or more interested members from this group that has been speaking at the last couple of public hearings. Both ends of the county should be well represented. And you don't have to do all the work by yourselves. There are some very informed, very intelligent citizens who know a lot about this, who can help with the research and work with you to put a plan in place to protect Haywood from these types of businesses, and to also look for some good alternatives. Please consider our request with care. Thank you.
Are you from Haywood County? You live in Weaverville, right?
I live in Weaverville
Okay.
as of the last year, but I was born and raised in Haywood.
Okay. Richard West.
Well, yeah, my name is Richard West. I live here in Waynesville, and I started looking into this issue of recycling and all the other things that go with it, whether you call it incineration or gasification, carbonization. I think there's probably 10 or 12 more words that say more or less the same thing, but sort of hide it from people who don't know. And anyway, I want to just lend my support to the people who are here asking for a moratorium. I think we need to study this more. I think we all need to study it more and see if this does fit with Haywood County and our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicole Harley.
I am Nicole Harley, and I would also like to request that you support a moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, Debbie King.
Good evening. I'm Debbie King. I live in Beaver Dam, Haywood County. I want to thank everyone that supported Beaver Dam Valley and the people that lived there during our battle to keep the waste out of our community. The swiftness with which our community, county, and even further came together is nothing short of incredible. It was 100% a team effort, a team made up of individuals from all walks of life. We in Beaver Dam are grateful for the choices that have been made in the last few days. That being said, it's my understanding from press articles that Haywood has not been ruled out for a waste project, or may not be. Reports that I have read indicate that steps should be taken to ensure that siting decisions are not imposing a clustering and disproportionate burden of noxious facilities, which would include a waste transfer station in a community. One article titled "Waste Transfer Stations, a Manual for Decision-Making" states, quote, "Overburdening a community with negative impact facilities can create health, environmental, and quality of living concerns. It can also have a negative economic impact by lowering property values and hindering community revitalization plans. These are just a few of the reasons environmental justice concerns need to be addressed when selecting a site for waste transfer stations." During the October 19th public hearing, the county had stated that on the other side of I-40, you have a couple of old landfills that were open at one point and they're now closed. That, in my opinion, should have been reason enough to not bring more waste into the Beaver Dam community. There are multiple reports indicating that the health and safety concerns of living near projects like the waste transfer station for Beaver Dam, that there are several health and safety concerns. During the November 2nd public hearing, Dr. Harley said, "As a physician, I want to voice my concerns over the health risks of this project. Please be aware that there are very grave health risks involved here." He also said a project like this does not belong in a community where human beings live. Transylvania County did pass a moratorium that included, but not limited to, the biomass electricity generating facility, materials recovery facility, any facility using municipal solid waste as a feedstock. In light of recent events, I would like to respectfully encourage you commissioners to support a moratorium similar to the one that was passed in Transylvania County. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would care to speak that did not sign up? Okay, and we'll close the public comment session. I can make a couple of observations. The statement that moratoriums fall under zoning in North Carolina is in fact correct, as General Statute 153A-340. So that topic, your request is asking for that topic to be brought forth. The request for a moratorium on the burning of biomass, I'm not sure if everyone understands that or not, but firewood is a biomass when used for a heating source for a significant number of homes in Haywood County. So you have unintended consequences sometimes. You have a moratorium on gasification. An outdoor wood furnace uses a gasification process to heat homes and to heat water. So you have private property issues there as well. Also, a moratorium on any waste-to-energy project in Haywood County. Evergreen Packaging uses wood chips and lignin as a biomass for waste-to-energy to process pulp, and it supplies 50% of the plant's energy needs. So we need to think long and hard before you put a moratorium on something used and instrumental to the survival of our largest employer in Haywood County. You got to be very careful about that. Haywood County operates a waste-to-energy project at Francis Farm landfill, taking hazardous material, in this case, what is it? Methane out of the landfill that it was, migrating to private property owners, taking that methane out and converting it to electricity. I think enough to power 27 homes at present. So, there's a lot that goes into this beyond buzzwords. There's a lot of real life things that take place when you consider a moratorium on such a broad stroke of what our population is here in Haywood County. So, Kurt, do you have any comments? Bill?
No.
Michael?
I want to reiterate that there was never, ever, ever going to be incineration, gasification, a waste dump, or a landfill in Beaver Dam. I keep hearing those words over and over and over. And we were never, ever going to do that. This was simply, as we saw in Kansas, Michael, a big metal building with a lot of conveyor belts, and they basically took recyclable materials and dumped it in a big hopper. It ran along the conveyor belts, and each little device separated out paper, tin cans, glass, and at the end of that conveyor belt, we saw aluminum cans being magnified. I don't know how they did it, but they just jumped off. And an occasional little piece of trash. And that's what we were going to have here. Recycling is a solution to our landfill problems. It's a small solution, but it's a solution. If you recycle, you know that your recyclables are a lot cleaner. I guess they're trash if you don't recycle, but recyclable material can be turned into commodities. The company in Kansas just sent a load the day before Michael and I were there to Hong Kong. China is one of the biggest buyers of recyclable materials and commodities, and it provides jobs for our people here at home. And that's simply all this was. To keep saying that there's incineration and all these other words, these buzzwords, was never talked about by this board. It was never talked about. The day we brought this out, incineration was asked and we said no. But yet I continue to hear people talk these buzzwords. It was never going to be that. It was simply a small little plant turning recyclable materials into commodities. That's all it was. And Michael and I, on the way back, I was talking to Michael. Michael and I both live near commercial areas, industrial areas. And next to my property, I have a rock yard. They bring trucks in every day. They haul gravel and mulch, which is fine. I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. He does it during the day. And I'm glad it's that close to home where I can go get a load of mulch if I want to. But if this plant that I saw in Kansas, I wouldn't mind it being near my home. I mean, I can see the rock yard. If they wanted to put it on that piece of property, I wouldn't have problems with that. Michael and I discussed it. He wouldn't have problems with that little facility next to him out there because it's basically just turning recyclable materials into commodities. That's all it was. That's all the project ever was. It was never, I want to repeat, it was never, ever going to be incineration, gasification, a waste dump, or a landfill. Ever. That's not what we ever talked about. I don't know how it got turned. I do know how it got turned, but it was wrong. All it was a little bit of a solution to a solid waste problem we have here in the county. And I hope he finds a site in Western North Carolina that he can put that, because the recyclable companies that are here aren't using the technology that he's got available. The Germans have done this for years. They've got it perfected, just like they do a lot of different things. You know, Germany's the leader in Europe if you look around. I talked to people in Kansas. The fellow out there that had done extensive research all over the world stayed 3 or 4 months in Europe. And while he was in Europe, Stadler was the best company there. And he looked at 5 North American companies, he looked at 3 European companies, and Stadler was the best. And that's what he got. And when he got that plant out there, he gets most of the recyclables in the area, because when it goes through his facility, he gets 96%, 96.5% was what he told me. He has 3.5% waste. That's all he's got out of all those recyclable materials. So he's turning all those materials back into the commodity market and not going to the landfill. But I will say one more time, this was never, ever going to be an incinerator, a gasification plant, a waste dump, or a landfill. Simply, it was recyclable materials being turned into commodities. I can't say that enough. That's all it ever was. That's all it ever will be if he opens up a place somewhere. So that's just what I want to say. I want to get that off my chest.
Okay. In closing, North Carolina General Statute 153A-340 also states that the duration of any moratorium shall be reasonable in light of the specific conditions that warrant imposition of the moratorium, and may not exceed the period of time necessary to correct, modify, or resolve such conditions. We don't have any conditions. We have rhetoric, we have people talking about it, but there are no conditions. There are no specific conditions that exist that would warrant a moratorium. So I don't intend to support a moratorium. I don't know how the other board members feel, but I do not intend to support it, and I would not vote for it. So
I'm not for zoning.
Well, it's a slippery slope. So we'll move then to constituent concerns. Bill?
I have none.
Kurt?
I don't have any.
Kevin?
No.
Michael?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Then we'll move to administrative and agency reports. We have Smoky Mountain Center Fiscal Monitoring Report, Julie Davis. Julie?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm bringing you once again the quarterly fiscal monitoring report from Smoky Mountain Center. And you'll note that they have, this actually is through September 30th, 2015. They have a total revenue of $96,313,424, and they have total expenditures of $87,626,798 for a net income of $8,686,626, and that's through the end of the quarter.
Okay. So no real material changes since the last report.
No.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for Julie? Okay. Now we'll move to adjustment of the agenda. I do have one adjustment. Item 5 of the consent agenda. I have been told that there have been some issues that have arisen regarding the contract that will take another couple of weeks to be resolved and be on our next board meeting. That's item 5 of the consent agenda. All right, we'll move then to the consent agenda. We've had the opportunity to review the November 2nd, 2015 regular meeting minutes. Are there any changes to those? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to the second item with David Francis, refunds, releases, amendments, and discoveries. David?
Good evening, Commissioners. The report for October, there's nothing to report unusual, just the regular releases and refunds. Okay. Have any questions on me? I'd be glad for.
We've had the opportunity to review those, so thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Move next to Mike Matthews, our tax collector, with the 2015 tax collection update.
Good evening. Good evening, Commissioners. As of October 31st, we are at $7,973,775 collected. It's off about just under 60,000 from last year. We just really started ramping up some of our collection stuff going now, and we're making it up quickly.
Yeah, you'd mentioned last time that the letters went out a little later than last year.
They did,
So that
yeah.
there would be a
I think
schism
last month we were about 400,000 off, and now we're about 60, so we're making that up every day.
Right.
So, and as far as our delinquent taxes left, we're at $1,408,224. So.
Still working your same plan with that?
Oh, yeah,
trying to
absolutely.
Get those, get those collected.
Absolutely.
From people. Okay, any questions of Mr. Matthews?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to a couple of budget amendments with Julie Davis. Julie?
I have two budget amendments for you this evening. The first one is for $27,728. And what we're doing here is we now have a good number for school students at Haywood County Schools. We started out with a formula based on last year's number, and we knew we were going to have to make an adjustment because of the charter schools that were increasing in enrollment. So once all the dust settled, we need $27,728 to put into our appropriation for the school system. Now, when we did the budget last spring, since we knew that this could be a potential problem, we did budget $200,000 specifically for, just in case we needed extra money for the charter students. So I'm reducing that contingency reserve for charter schools by that $27,000. And what I'm also doing is taking the balance of $172,272 and putting it into our contingency account so we can use it if we need it during the rest of this year.
Those numbers turned out to be fairly close, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
On the projection, yeah.
They were pretty close.
Okay, go ahead with, are there any questions of Julie on that fund, on that one? Okay, if not, we'll move then to the general fund budget amendment.
The general fund budget amendment is from the Sheriff's Office, and this is for their DARE program. The Sheriff's Office has a DARE program, I think, together with some of the towns, and they have collected some revenue of about $1,300. I'm doing a budget amendment for $1,500 to recognize the revenue so that they can spend it, assuming they're going to be getting a little bit more money throughout this year.
Okay, any questions on the donations to the DARE program? Okay. And thank you, Julie. Item 5, again, was removed to be rescheduled. Is there any questions on the consent agenda? If not, we'd entertain a motion that the consent agenda as presented be approved.
So move.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, we'll move to new business. First is Dale Burruss to request approval of a contract with Clark and Leatherwood for the 911 Emergency Operations Center. If you'll recall, last week we accepted the Clark and Leatherwood as the low bidder with the notation that we would present a contract this week. So.
That is correct. On November the 2nd, it was the Haywood County Board of Commissioners awarded the project to Clark and Leatherwood Incorporated, and in your packet I've attached the contract, the AIA contract, for your approval for construction.
Okay. We've talked about this a few times. Are there any questions?
I just want to make a comment. I'm glad that a Haywood County contractor got this.
Yeah, this
pleased.
is really good that we did get a local contractor, and Clark and Leatherwood is a really good contractor, been in business for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, if there's no objection, would entertain a motion for the requesting approval of a contract with Clark and Leatherwood for the 911 Emergency Operations Center, having been found to be the lowest responsive bidder. The contract's in the amount of $859,600. I make a note that this is from E911 grant proceeds. So I'll entertain that motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. For the benefit of the public, when we talk about E911 money and so forth, you'll notice on your phone bill there's a little notation among many notations with taxes and charges and so forth, and there is a charge for E911 services in your phone bill each month. These funds build up over time, and that's what we can use to pay for some of the emergency services communications that we have.
That's correct, and honestly, that's one of the most minimal amounts that's actually on your phone bill, so most people don't even see it.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 2 of new business is requesting approval of a resolution to approve purchase of E911 equipment and maintenance contracts with CenturyLink using an exception provided under general statute. Jeff Haynes. Jeff?
Good evening, Commissioners. Excuse me. I want to come before you today for the request of the approval of a resolution to approve purchase of the E911 equipment to be housed in the facility that Mr. Burruss just spoke about, and the maintenance contracts that go with that through CenturyLink, using the exception provided under General Statute 143-129. The total amount for both the new center and the upgrade of the other center to prove redundancy is that total $759,608, which is to be paid for out of E911 funds. And the resolution reads as such. The resolution of the County of Haywood authorizing the purchase of certain Entrada Viper call-taking 911 equipment utilizing the exception under General Statute 143-129E6-3 to standardize and maintain compatibility with the existing equipment. North Carolina General Statute 143-129 details the procedures for letting public contracts, and whereas 143-129E identifies exceptions to those procedures as they relate to procurement contracts, and whereas item 6 of this same statute 143-129E provides that formal bid procedures shall not apply to purchases of apparatus, supplies, materials, or equipment when standardization or compatibility is the overriding consideration, and whereas the Haywood County EOC 911 has an opportunity to purchase the necessary call-taking equipment that will be paid for from 911 funds for the new consolidated 911 center located in the Law Enforcement Center at the Sheriff's Office. And it has been determined that a standard system that is compatible with the CenturyLink system that is currently in place in the current EOC is the overriding consideration. And whereas it's essential to provide redundancy by upgrading the current CenturyLink call-taking equipment for the current site, and whereas CenturyLink can provide this equipment, the upgrade and the maintenance with equipment that will standardize the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, and allow consistency between locations, which will allow for the current seat license to be utilized as they see it. And more importantly, will allow Haywood County to stay fully operational for the citizens of Haywood County through 911 services during the transition from the current location to the new location. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Haywood County Board of Commissioners in general session on 16 November 2015 hereby authorize the EOC staff of Haywood County to purchase equipment from CenturyLink per the quotes provided as permitted under General Statute 143-129E6, exception for equipment standardization and compatibility. This is the 16th day of November 2015.
Thank you. Any questions of Jeff? Okay. Again, we're all familiar with the history of this as well, so
yes, sir.
Would entertain a motion then that the resolution as read be approved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. That's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Jeff.
you, gentlemen.
And we have a budget amendment to accompany. Julie?
Now that the expenditure has been approved and the resolution approved, I'm going to remind you a little bit about where that money's coming from. Last year, we budgeted $575,000 into the grant project because the project was coming in a little bit over what the money was for the grant. So we used the E911 special revenue fund, the 911 funds, to move that amount last year. There is $46,000 within the E911 fund, which is Fund 23. If you're used to looking at our numbering system, it's a special revenue fund. It's not the general fund. That much is dedicated. Well, the total of those two amounts still came up a little short. So what we are doing now with this budget amendment is budgeting the difference, $138,131. Also within the special revenue fund for E911, and we're taking some fund balance and we're appropriating it to be used to make sure this project gets done the way it needs to be done.
Right. Any questions of Julie?
Did you say where the E911 comes from, the money, the revenue? Isn't
Yes.
Off cell phone bills? And
Yes,
stuff?
off the phone bills. That's exactly what that is.
Did she say that already?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We had that discussion a little while ago.
Sorry.
Probably better off not listening to me. Okay, we have a budget amendment to cover the E911 center. So would entertain a motion that it be approved as presented.
So move.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Julie. You'll be staying up, I guess, along with some members of the Junaluska Fire Department for a request to purchase, enter into financing contracts to purchase some new trucks.
We have some members of the fire department to talk to you about a truck they're going to buy, and I'll just very quickly let you know that I've looked at their financial statements. They did get their audit to me just within the past couple of weeks, and it does look like they're going to be able to afford this truck. I've got all the details of what they've done, the process. They've gotten different bids, financing bids. They are going through a national purchasing company for the trucks, and the information regarding the financing is in your packet, but it's a 7-year municipal lease at 2.5% interest at $98,874 a year.
Okay. We have with us William Ledbetter from Junaluska and Charles Woods from Junaluska as well. So we go through this with every purchase of equipment. We get a verdict from our finance officer that you're able to pay for what you buy. I have a question. If she says you're able to pay for it, then you're able to pay for it. But do you need the truck? Well, I mean, explain just a little bit to the taxpayers in your district, why do you need 2 trucks?
You want me to? Okay, what we've got right now is we've got a 1988 model engine. It was our first Audi engine. 10 years ago, we booted it to a second Audi engine. Well, it's got some not financial, but it's got some mechanical problems. We've had to fix the tank in it. It's a metal tank. Nowadays, things are polys. It's rusted. We've welded it. So the truck that we're buying right now, the first truck, is to replace that truck. And it's also replacing a second truck that we have that is a little rescue. We call it Rescue 18. Yeah. So we're replacing this one engine that we have to have for our district, for our ISO ratings. I'm sure y'all are familiar with that. It requires us, let me take it back. It does not require us. They don't require us to do anything, but they grade us, and we need 3 engines. So this engine is actually costing us more than it's worth. So we're replacing this engine and this small rescue with this one truck. And that'll bring that up to date. And then the second truck that's part of this purchase is a tanker. Like I said, when we done our ISO rating a couple years ago, we brung our district from a 6.9 down to a flat 5. So everybody in our district has a 5 insurance rating. To be able to get the full credit, we need that third engine. So with the purchase of this tanker, we're taking a pumper tanker that we have now, turning it into an engine, so we'll have the 3 engines, and this tanker will become our tanker. We're also required to have a tanker for these type of for our rating. So by adding this tanker with it and replacing these 2 trucks, hopefully when they upgrade us again in a couple years, that brings our rating up, or brings it actually down, brings our points up, brings our rating back down to like a 4 or something. That's what our goal is, and that's the purchase of buying both trucks. Like one of them, we got to replace the engine. It's costing us more, nickel and diming us to death. So we got to replace it, and that's why the 2 trucks are being bought.
Right. And the lower the rating, of course, the less fire insurance your residents have to pay.
Yeah, the more our residents and business save yearly on their fire insurance, and So
Right.
that's
And the
that's
other
our
last
goal
thing I'll
is.
mention, I think the law requires that a public hearing be held, and I believe that was
Yes, we had
held.
William, I wasn't there for that, but William was at the public hearing, and all that was taken care of. We got the minutes from it. I think it was in the package, so you should have all that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you both.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Any questions of fire department or the process? Okay. Well, hearing none, then would entertain a motion that the Junaluska Community Volunteer Fire Department be authorized to enter into a financing contract of $727,790 with United Financial of North Carolina Incorporated to purchase 2 new trucks as described.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have Julie Davis and Cheryl Wilkins with us again on the Community Development Block Grant final closeout documents.
Yes, we have just finished a couple of years' worth of projects with our Community Development Block Grant. That's federal grant money that flows through the state to us. And we have a few cleanup documents that we need to have signed and taken care of, and Cheryl is going to tell you a little bit about that.
The first one is the Residential Anti-Displacement and Relocation Assistance Plan that basically says we won't tear something down and not replace it with low-income housing, and none of that happened. But the Section 3 plan, basically, everything that was done encouraged low-income people to get jobs. We advertised for low-income people, our contractors did. Citizens Participation Plan, that's the involvement we had with the citizens and keeping them informed. And then a Language Access Plan, it's for people that have limited English proficiency. But these have all been previously approved and have been outdated now. We need to update them.
Okay. Any questions of Cheryl? Okay. It's good to get to the cleanup stage sometime.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion then that the CDBG final closeout documents, as described, be approved for closeout.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, the last item of the new business portion of the agenda is requesting approval of the cooperative inspections agreement between Haywood County and the town of Waynesville to allow for the arrangement of building inspection services. Ira Dove.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This is a request to approve the interlocal cooperation agreement between the town of Waynesville and Haywood County for the provision of inspection services. This came about, the town has recently lost a level 3 inspector, and so in order to keep matters proceeding, we're interested in working out this. Plus, earlier this spring, we were in a situation where we may have lost one of our level 3, so we decided a reciprocal agreement in case we get in a situation where we need to keep building inspections moving and don't have enough certified folks. Bruce Crawford is here with us this evening, and he is coming up to discuss or to be available for questions. I just want to run over a couple of the highlights of the particular agreement that would be entered, and to note that the town has passed this already from their end. This was reviewed by our attorney. Chip is unable to be here this evening. He did review this document, and it did go through their legal counsel as well. Among the main things is it would be the ability to have the building inspectors and fire inspectors to perform the different building, electrical, plumbing, and HVAC and fire inspections in each other's jurisdictions. It would be by request of the manager, whether the town manager or the county manager. There's an agreement that we would do the request within 24 hours of the request to keep things proceeding. There is, both jurisdictions would still keep their own zoning and code enforcement ordinances such as they are, so there's no change or agreement there. The parties would basically provide the documentation. There is a note that whichever party requests the service would pay $30 an hour for the inspector. That's, at this time, we think a reasonable rate to cover the cost of the travel and the inspection for the employees. And the inspection services and the basis on that could be amended from time to time by the managers. That way, if a couple of years from now, we think the labor cost is $35 an hour or something, we could amend that without coming back to you. That's a keynote in here as well. It's a complete reciprocity on this one, and then either party could terminate this with 30 days written notice.
Okay. So basically, it's just a good backup plan, especially if you have a municipality that only has one inspector and they leave and you've got an Ingalls project going on. You need somebody to step up so the economic development doesn't suffer.
You've named a project that's going on that was named to me by the town manager and said, what can we do? Or we may in the county have a project going on that we need a level 3 inspector if we get some economic development going. There's a resolution that goes with this. It's a joint resolution as well.
Okay.
I was going to say, along those lines, I'm hearing that there's going to be some other projects be done in Waynesville pretty soon, I think. I mean, there's companies looking at building some commercial buildings, and I think Waynesville's going to have a little bit of a building boom, so it's probably good that they have this in place.
Does it present any particular problem or burden for you, Bruce? Is it workable?
I don't think it will. If things stay the way they are now, we're capable of handling anything at this point.
Okay.
I can't say that, hopefully, if the county has a building boom as well, we may have to look at hiring somebody, but right now I think we can handle it.
Okay. Very good. Any questions of Bruce or Ira? Okay. All right, then move forward with entertaining a motion to approve the cooperative inspections agreement between Haywood County and the town of Waynesville to allow for the arrangement of building inspection services.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you. That concludes our agenda. At this point, we'd entertain a motion to enter into closed session for purposes of economic development under authority of General Statute 143-318.11A4.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. Okay, we're in closed session. There will not be. We have returned from closed session. Is there any other business for the board? Hearing none, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you. We are adjourned.